I just want to know in general how you're feeling. I mean, Isaiah announced today he's coming back. Cam is coming back. One by one, it seems like everyone is swept back into the dustpan, and you're all, most of you all back together again. Just kind of, how do you feel after this long process about your team and who you have coming back?
I like where we are right now. I would love for Rodney Miller's injury to be over with so he could be practicing. He's only allowed to do non-contact drills. But if you look at our roster right now, the addition of Charlie Moore is going to be great for us. He's a terrific player. He's a great teammate. He's a very good distributor of the basketball. He's a very good passer, finds the open man, really pushes the ball in the open court. Having Isaiah and Cam back, they both looked at the NBA route. They both learned an awful lot about the NBA process. But for them coming back, we have two double-figure scorers at the wings that I think makes us a very talented backcourt. Charlie, Isaiah, Cam, and now Harlan Beverly. Finally today was his first day of playing after the injuries he had throughout his sophomore year. So he was back today. So now we become bigger and more athletic. And then you add a transfer in Jordan Miller, who's the biggest of this group, but plays the guard position, can handle the ball, rebounds the ball well. So our perimeter game is very, very good. We have Charlie, who's a sixth-year senior. We got Cam, who's a sixth-year senior. We got Jordan Miller, who's a fourth-year senior, junior, whatever you want because of eligibility. And then our two juniors in Isaiah and Harlan. So we've got size, speed, quickness, experience, and skill all on the perimeter. And then Sam Wordenberg is back from his broken foot. He's playing well. Deng Gak is much improved. He's finally healthy. I told Deng the best thing I've seen from him is he's at practice every day actually practicing because he went the last year with only practicing half the time. So if we practiced 2 hours, he practiced an hour. So today we actually worked out, did skill development for an hour and a half. He was out there the whole hour and a half. So he's going to be able to contribute mightily. Rodney is doing the non-contact stuff. Sam, and then Anthony Walker, who had a very good sophomore year, is back and playing even better, stronger, and more mature physically, mentally, and emotionally. So our front court has improved. We're actually still recruiting. We'd love to get another big guy. We could still use some help in the front court, but tell Dave that he can't be walking back and forth and distracting me there, Michelle. Yeah, Dave. So anyway, we're in a good place right now.
We'll go to
I didn't mention even we have two freshmen that are here going to summer school. Ja'Kai Robinson and Wooga Poplar, and they've already made a very, very positive impression. They're doing very, very well in all the drills, and they're both very hard-nosed competitors and skilled basketball players. So it's nice to have that kind of depth on our perimeter.
We'll go to David Froning from the Sun Sentinel now. David.
Hey, Jim, good to see you. A couple questions. First, just to follow up on that, for Ja'Kai and Wooga, the incoming freshman guards, how much can they benefit from having all these vets on the roster in the backcourt, guys coming back and the transfers coming in, just to be able to learn from them without so much of the pressure to contribute right away, and then how to follow after?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things about college basketball these days is it's almost like you have to play right away as a freshman. You got to start, average double figures, be considered an NBA one and done type guy. But quite honestly, the strength of our basketball program has always been in development. And I think Wooga and Jakai are going to really benefit from learning a lot as freshmen, both offensively and defensively, from an outstanding coaching staff. Coach Caputo has been with me for 20 years, Coach Courtney for 12 years. DJ Irving is a new member of our staff, but really doing a terrific job. Lamont Franklin and Jeff Dyer have been here 5 and 7 years. So we've got an experienced veteran group of coaches, and I think these young players will learn an awful lot. And whether it's their freshman year or after all these veterans graduate and move on, or whether they step in next year, it's to our advantage to have that kind of depth.
And I also wanted to get your thoughts on all the name, image, and likeness stuff starting up in college athletics. So we've heard a lot about football at UM, but I wanted your take from a basketball perspective. How much can your athletes tend to benefit from it?
Here's what I understand about name, image, and likeness. And I don't know if this is true everywhere, but what we have told families of our recruits and even our own players, if you really want to pursue this, there's 2 things you need to do. The first, you either have to be very, very active on social media and have a lot of followers so that sponsors will want you to endorse their product. Or what I've encouraged the guys to do and encourage recruits to do is hire an agent, a marketing firm, somebody whose business is to create these opportunities for you. And I really think that's the best way. Now, a lot of people might say, why do you want to be dealing with agents? Well, that's their job. That's what they do. They can negotiate contracts for you, negotiate sponsorships for you, and you can make a substantial amount of money if you've got a good agent working on your behalf.
We'll go now to Cal Friedman from WVUM. Cal.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask 2 questions about Sam Wordenberg. I'll start with this one. How has his progress been coming back after missing all of last season?
Yeah, Sam basically missed from last September until about 3 weeks ago. So he was not in great physical shape, not in great condition, but mentally and physically, he was in a very good place. He was really working on his technique in his shooting. He continues to work on that. He's always been an excellent defender and rebounder, so he can play both the 4 and 5 position. And if necessary, he could even move to the 3 because he's a very bright basketball player, has a good understanding of the game. I think you're going to see that Sam is going to make a tremendous contribution this coming year.
And then I wanted to touch about him at the center with the loss of Nasir Brooks and no new centers added yet. How comfortable do you feel playing Sam Wordenberg at the center in the ACC this upcoming season?
Well, the way I look at it is right now we have 3 guys, maybe even 4 guys who can compete for that position. Rodney Miller, Dan Gack, Sam Wordenberg, and even Anthony Walker. Because so much of basketball today is a positionless game, and spreading the defense out and playing your most skilled and most athletic players. So those guys each play the game a little differently. Rodney Miller's offensive game is strictly in the low post. A guy like Dan Gack, his game is more of an athletic game, catching lobs and running the floor. Sam Wordenberg is more of a stretch 4 where he can go out and shoot the 3. And Anthony Walker kind of combines a terrific inside game with a guy who can hit an occasional 3. But his game is really the one that has the most versatility because of his athleticism.
Next, we've got David Lang from WPLG. David.
Hey, Coach, I got 2 questions for you. The first one is about Isaiah Wong announcing he's coming back. I'm curious, what does going through the MBA process do to help a player be better when they come back to college? How will that help him improve?
Well, one of the things that the NBA coaches and scouts and general managers do is they actually sit down and evaluate your game and tell you the areas you need to focus on if you want to play in the NBA. You must improve this area. And college coaches can tell their players that. And quite frankly, they don't listen all the time. They say, no, defense isn't that important. As long as I score, everyone will be interested in me. Well, we found that when the NBA scouts start talking to them, they start talking about defense first. Hey, if you can't guard a great player, you can't play in the NBA. If you're a guard and you can't switch at the 1, 2, 3, you can't play in the NBA. If you look at a player like Bruce Brown, who had 2 terrific years with us, the reason he's having so much success in the NBA is because he was a two-way player. He can defend. He had to guard guys like James Harden and Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. But the way he was able to succeed is he did a really good job and developed a reputation as a guy who can defend. And I think that was kind of the messages that were delivered to Cam McGusty and Isaiah Wong. So we're seeing greater effort at the defensive end of the floor right now in our pickup games.
All right, one more, just the conference changing a little bit with Mike Krzyzewski announcing this is going to be his last year and Roy Williams moving on from North Carolina. So just your thoughts on a couple of legends moving out of your conference and, a new game out there.
I actually think it's great for our basketball program because we battle against those guys every year in the recruiting process. And I think sometimes the decision is made before we even get involved, before we can get our foot in the door. We don't know yet how that will change, but I would imagine there's going to be more opportunity for us to get involved with some of the very best players in the country. And we've already seen that in our recruiting efforts right now, this summer of 2021.